Yo, 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 what is going on? IK Familia. B-Head, we are back again. Finally, man, I know some of these videos have been coming out a little bit later than I'd like, but hopefully we're going to be getting back on track per usual for our morning releases. I mean, I have so much great content I cannot wait to bring you guys, talk related, and oh man, it's going to be pretty awesome like a possum. But before we even get any more into that, let me give you guys an update real quick on how server 79 is panning out. So, we are currently on day 2. Let me just show you real quick so you guys can see where we're at. So, we're 2 days, 3 hours, right? Again, we just had Chronicle 3 that popped open, and I'll show you exactly when it did just so I can give everyone a timeline. I'm just going to kind of give you an update here on day 2, just kind of do a little bit of explaining as well as kind of how we've prepped. So this is probably going to be one of many videos in somewhat of a Kingdom Builder series. Now let's start with the Chronicle Palace, right? So this is when you can see, right, Chronicle 4 has been completed. We're just waiting for Chronicle 5 to open up now in 20 hours. Chronicle 3, right, we finished at 15:07 today. So you can see that was about 2.5 hours ago. Based on, again, a little after the server opened. Again, we finished at about 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Server opened up about, so it was about 2 days and an hour, 2 days and an hour and a half when we completed it. So it was actually pretty quick for when we finished Chronicle 3. I was actually really surprised, because usually it's about 2.5 to 3 days from what I'm used to when we did it early on in some of the younger servers. So I just want to show you guys a little bit about how the server is going so far, let you know some of my initial thoughts, and then talk about a little bit of the process on how we got from here, from the jumping, to server 79. So again, you've seen from my previous video, right, us letting people know to join server 79, mainly because it's the server that's open right now. It is the, what I like to think, the hot ticket. Now, for many reasons. Let me show you real quick how some of the boards are looking. And this is one of the things that I'm actually really proud of right now, which, if you look at the top 5 alliances, right, these are our 5 main family alliances, right? So one, I'm happy that we're able to get to the top 5 spots, regardless if it was a mixture of or not entirely. That would have been fine as well, as it kind of was showing like that day 1. Now that we got all of our jumpers in, or at least I should say a good amount, if not the majority of them in, we still have a few, I think, from each alliances that are waiting. But look at the top 4 spots right now, all within, right, 5.5 mil, or excuse me, 500,000, 550,000. Yeah, 1,000. Gosh, where am I even going with that? 550,000 or less, right, as far as the gap between 1 and 4. Now, the reason why we were able to do this, some people may look at this and they might think to themselves, oh, well, you know, it's just developing like that. No, this was all pre-planned, right? So when we split up players and we divide them based on their current power at the time. So a week before we jumped, we basically took a real-time audit where I direct messaged every single player that we had on our Discord, and I asked them, what's your current Lord power, along with a couple other questions, and then we put that onto a spreadsheet. We break it down column by column, and then from there, I'm able to assign players based on their power, making sure that I can try to even the numbers out as best I can. Now, of course, there's a little margin of error because it depends on, one, how hard each free-to-play player is going, and then, of course, the spenders, how much they're spending, whether it be a little bit up to a lot. But for the most part, based on early projections, this is how you start. This is one way you can work on balancing power, right, as a jump group coming into a server, or even if you're just looking to fill players in accordingly. Right, one of the things we're going to be putting into effect probably on day 3, once the remaining jumpers get into all of our alliances, right, is we'll start kind of putting in that hard power minimum or that power cap, right? So whoever the current number 1 alliance is, right, they'll have that kind of 25,000. We might bump it to 30 or 35, but somewhere around there where that'll be the hard cap, meaning that you cannot accept anyone above that cap. Instead, what you do is you redirect them to the 2nd ranked alliance or the 3rd ranked alliance, right? You can prioritize family first, and then once those fill up, you can go ahead and trickle down to the rest of the alliances as well. But that is how you start working on, one, constantly rotating from the top down, where the number 1 alliance will eventually have the number 2 alliance catch up, right? Then you'll have a new number 1. They'll do the same thing, and it allows for you, prior to you starting to do merges, and then prior to stage 3, which that's stage 2. Stage 3 is really once migration opens, then you can start filling in players to the lower ranked alliances to build them up from the low end working up, right? We're really working top down right now, and then you're kind of working at the middle of the core when stage 2 happens for merges. So again, numbers look great. Shout out to Fubar, the champ, right? Almost at 300K on day 2. I think he's almost VIP 15 too, which is pretty wild. But he's our strongest, along with Babbers, my boys. And then we got Berserk, Hanma, 23 Anton, so some shout-outs there. Again, alliances are looking pretty good, right? Alliance level, we have a good amount, I think, already at 2. Let's see how many we have at day 2. So, not bad. We got 19 alliances already at alliance level 2. I'm sure we'll hopefully be trying to at least increase that by maybe 30 to 50% over the next day or two, as we then start looking for the top set of those to grab alliance level 3. Now, like I talked about in my previous video, right, again, there is some iffiness going on already, though, right? So we have actually seen that there is one alliance which has, I think, goals set on burning the world. Let's see where they're at. I can't remember the other. Here we go. It's DW. So Destroyer of Worlds, right there. If you look at their thing, let's convert it. We came here to wreak havoc on the server. We invite those who are ready to burn and be burned by our clan. So again, right, a little hostility ranked there at number 29. We even saw some people that might have been coming in from other servers as far as solo players that kind of made some inklings. So we'll see how those develop, right? I think the important thing is that, right, I like to try and give you guys to be as transparent, as objective as I can when I talk about, because these are things that every server is potentially going to face, right? Just because my group was very organized and very prepared coming in here, along with our fantastic alliance leads, right? So again, you know, I can't say that enough, right? Shout out to my boy Crimson here in Fate. Right, shout out to Ghost here and Fosse, Berserk, who's one of our newer R6s, and then of course Embla, the goddess herself, right, from Fallen Storm. So, you know, I think it's important that you have to have leads top down that really understand what the vision is for your server. They understand the goals, because that's the true benefit, right, when you're really putting together a jump project is, right, you have people that think very similarly to you, and that will translate long term in your server, right, pending everyone really understands what the goals are, right? The majority of us do not care, right, who is the number 1 alliance, right? That is the most least thing that we worry about, right? What is truly important to us, right, is working on balancing our family of alliances and then trickling that down to the non-family alliances, right? Trying to bring them up, work on balancing them, right? Helping recruit eventually over time, right? Once migration opens, facilitating mergers with lower-ranked alliances, right? One of the things that we've already done in the server is we've already reached out to the top 75 alliances so far, right? We did it, my buddy Ghost and I did it earlier, I think last night, and then a little bit of this morning. And so, you know, we basically put together like this 4-part message, right, of about 450 characters each, introducing ourselves, explaining what the server goals are, right, inviting them onto the Discord. We've already had a lot of leaders, a couple officers as well coming on that we've put into kind of what we consider our server management channel. And that's mainly so we can discuss, have conversations, kind of let them know what our goals are, what our plans are, right, really show them how well thought out and detailed we have things that are really going to benefit everyone here. And for me, that's always been the most important thing, right? There really isn't a flagship server at the moment in Infinity Kingdom, and that is part of our hope here with this project, in addition to preparing for server versus server when it eventually does come out. And so these are all things that you're investing in early for the long term, right? Just because it's not out yet, or because you can't see it visually, or you can't tangibly touch it or participate in it or do some kind of action move, doesn't mean that you cannot prepare for what others are not doing, right? That's how you stay ahead of the curve. That's how you always remain however many steps ahead, right? And I think that is vitally important, right? Especially for players like myself and others who've played other kingdom builders, and you know that if a kingdom builder is going to be successful, they're eventually going to add in these modes. They're going to add in these features like SVS and KVK. And the servers that are able to start preparing for them sooner than later are the ones that are going to be farther ahead than the rest. So again, I'm really excited for where S79 is going right now, right? We have a lot of great people here, a lot of people that really believe in the vision and in the goal, and all I can say is that if you are looking for a server to join, it does not matter if you create an account now on day 1, if you create an account in a week from now, even if you have a jumper but you feel like it's just not that strong, that does not matter. The most important thing that does matter is that you are joining a server that you believe, 1, is the type of server you want to play in, and then 2, has a high chance of being successful and not just turning into civil war chaos and unnecessary PvP. right? Again, that is the type of server we're building, right? It doesn't mean you have to join. It doesn't even mean you have to agree with that. There are different servers out there for different types of players, right? And a lot of what it comes down to, as usual, is the majority group that's going to be in that server is typically going to be the ones that manage and support the server's development. At least they should, right? You should be stewards to your server. You have a responsibility and accountability to be the best that you can for the players in there. It's not just you looking at your alliance or me looking at my family of alliances, right? It's me looking at how is every single player in the server, regardless of their family or not, is going to benefit from what we're doing, right? And how am I going to be able to work with my leads, officers, and other players to culminate all of our knowledge and experience to do the best job that we can for the server. Right, so we can retain the most amount of players possible, right, and keep activity as high as possible. So I think all of these things are really important. And with all of that being said, that is pretty much it for me on our first kind of Kingdom Builder series / S79 update number 1. Tomorrow's video, we're definitely going to start getting back on track with some of the huge content. So be excited for that because it's going to be something talk related. And it's also going to be showcasing most used / recommended support skills for something specific. It's going to be pretty exciting once we start that series out. But that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you in S79? Are you liking how it's going so far? Do you have questions? Anything and everything. I definitely will always take a look at. That's it from me. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later.